Welcome to Around Town, featuring what's happening in the greater Concord area. I'm your host, Dick Patten. It's a pleasure to welcome you back as we say goodbye to Memorial Day and the month of May, and comes in June, and who knows, and we've been having crazy weather. First, we got the rain, so there should be no drought for a while, but although if you talk to people, they say it's still dry in places, but I don't know. I think we're pretty lucky right here in New Hampshire, but anyway, June's coming up, weddings and graduations and the whatnot. Getting ready for 4th of July. But with me today is a returning guest, and I'm so happy he's here because I just think the world of him, and he's really, I've learned a lot since the first time he was on, but Staff Sergeant Ryan LePointe is here, and were you busy yesterday? Did you go and march in any parades or do any speaking anywhere? Or?
No, I generally like to just keep to myself with my wife or family members. So yesterday we had a long weekend and did a barbecue on Sunday. So we decided yesterday was just going to be our, Netflix and chill day.
All right, now I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Why?
Why?
Only because now this is, and I know this may not be fair, but I can remember as a kid years ago that when we went to a Memorial Day parade, you would see all kinds of soldiers marching, veterans. You'd see the VFW, you'd see the American Legion, you'd see the disabled American vets, you'd see the various color guards. Then you'd also would have the auxiliaries. And now, there's nothing. Of course, back then, you had the World War I vets, who, of course, are long in heaven. World War II is getting right up there. There are not many left. And now we're down to Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War, and whatever, the Afghanistan, Iraq conflicts. But it's like the generations have changed. The young people, the young veterans, just don't seem to want to be out there showing their patriotism. Why is that?
I think a decent amount of them show it in their own way.
Yeah.
I think times are just changing. We're not on the same page of wanting to go march in parades, and I think some have a lot of pride for the fact that they're veterans and they want to be part of a community of veterans. But at the same time, they don't want to be in a certain, group like the VFW or the American Legion. No disrespect to those organizations, but, they have their fees that they charge and they have their, benefits for being a part of them, but I think some people would rather just do it in their own ways.
What do you mean, fees?
Well, some of them actually charge you, membership fees. And
Veterans?
Yeah. So when I was in the VFW, when I first came back from Iraq in 2007, the post there in Germany made me pay just to be a part of them.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not... I better be careful of that. To me, that's different.
It could be completely different. I
wouldn't have expected that. I mean, I know I belong to the Sons of the VFW, Sons of the American Legion, and Sons of the Marine Corps League. And yes, I have dues I pay, but I expect that because I'm not a veteran. But I expect that. But I can't believe you being a staff sergeant and all that they would do that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And some people just don't want to be in an environment, whether it's, veteran community of everyone from their different conflicts that they had to deal with or be part of. But they don't have the same mentality. It was a different war, or, they just don't want to be in that area where you go to a bar and everyone's either smoking inside or outside or whatever it is, but just sitting there talking about their own, personal stories. Not everyone wants to hear their, everyone else's stories all the time. Sometimes, most active duty members that are in combat-related jobs have no problem talking about anything. They'll talk about it. It's like they would tell any other sort of story or joke that was going along with it, and everyone laughed to it. But there are those few that, just did affect them in a different way, and, even talking about their situation or someone else's situation can trigger some sort of PTSD or just, make them uncomfortable. So
I know as a kid, I think when we talked about this the first time you were on, but I know as a kid, my father on Sunday especially, I don't know why Sundays, but Sundays, they had movies. And it seemed like every Sunday was a military or a war movie.
mm-hmm.
You know, and he'd sit there and me, I was like bored stiff. But he really got into that because his brother, his oldest brother, was in World War II, and his stepfather was in World War II. Now his stepfather was a prisoner of war in World War II, and he came home. I guess he really came home as it was a mess. And the poor guy, you know, was a farmer, and because he married my grandmother, and there was, unfortunately, the age difference was not that. Him and my father, there was something like maybe 10 years age difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not that, no one knows why that happened but with my grandmother, but it could have been companionship or whatever else. But still, the poor guy went through a lot of stuff, I guess, and his medals were all donated to the Cathedral of the Pines. Now, he gave me and my sister copies of them, but I don't even know where mine is, but he was proud of his medals, boy, and because he had no kids. But you know, I just kind of wondered, you know, in our parade yesterday, yesterday was the first time I'd ever missed a parade, but the weather, I thought the weather was questionable, and I said, I think it's supposed to rain,
mm-hmm.
so I didn't go. But I know when I go up to the Veteran Cemetery in Bosquen, have you been up there?
I don't think I have.
You should go up there. I didn't say you should, but it's quite a place.
Mm-hmm.
I went up there because I initiated a project a few years ago in the State Grange, because when I went up there, I was looking around, and I saw different monuments or markers of different organizations. And I said, gee, we belong up here too. So I did a fundraising campaign and raised enough money to have a granite monument put up there. And so it's there. So every year I put flowers in front of it. And then they take the flowers after about 10 days, and they have a big, I guess, memorial garden somewhere. And they put them all in that. But it just makes you do some thinking, because I had two uncles in World War II. I don't think it was World War I on one of them. I think it was two. And then my step-grandfather, I had 5 cousins that were in the service. None of them, one went to Vietnam, and he came back a mess. And he was in the Marines, but then he re-enlisted in the Army. But anyway, and then there was one stationed in Japan, and another one, 3 other ones didn't go across. They were just here in the States, and they came home after their tour was done. But you know, it was a very tough time. I myself was not a veteran. I was a serviceman. I did go over to sign up, but they weren't taking any more names at the time. And we were the part that they were going by the draft lottery.
Mm-hmm.
And my number was so high that I wasn't going to bother. But I don't know, Ryan, deep down, if I would have been a good soldier, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not really good with guns.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how it would be. You know, if it was inside doing a job, like with the radios, like I did with dispatch for years, then maybe I could do it. But to be out there on the field, I don't know.
Yeah. People ask me about the military and what I think when they say I want to join or whatever, and I say each individual has their own experience. I couldn't tell someone that based off of my experience, that's what's going to happen for you. Yeah. It's based off your leadership that you have, your either organizational and direct leadership, the people right over you, and what the decisions they're making for you in your life. your peers and how you're treated by them, and just what you put into it. So exactly how they say, you know, you get what you put into it. So if you're hardworking and you do a lot and you're, you know, really smart and you want to learn more and you just want to be the best you can be, that goes a long way too. But, you know, then there's the people who are directly over you that sometimes they might not like you for whatever reasons, or their career's not taking off how they want it to. So, you know, or they're just inexperienced and they don't know the correct path to help you along. So a lot of the time it's, you know, you just making your own promotions for yourself, trying to do your you know, own stuff to make yourself look the best you can and be the most professional. And, you know, we have certain things that we're supposed to always be, you know, 100% on, like our dental or, you know, our physical, what do they call them? They just call them physicals. I can't remember. You know, medical.
Yep.
So that you're all up to date on that and you're good to deploy if you need to deploy. As far as, you know, saying you're not sure because you didn't like weapons, I think on two different, you know, things right here. One is even though a lot of soldiers, there's a ton of soldiers out there who have nothing to do with the actual direct actions, meaning like if there was combat, they had nothing. They're not going to be part of mobility and maneuver elements like infantry, tankers.
Yeah.
They're just there to provide support for those units.
Sure.
So many jobs go along that. And what the Marine Corps says is, you know, every Marine is a rifleman, meaning they teach all of them to shoot really well. Well, in the Army, some people try to say, you know, everyone's an infantryman, but that's not true in any sense of the form. But everyone is a soldier.
Sure.
And when it comes down to that level of it's your turn, you have to adapt and work right now in a combat situation. So you need to pull those whatever skills that you were trained prior to this and use them in this scenario to try to, you know, survive with whatever is going to come at us. So we had one kid, and when I was in Iraq, his job was supply, and they just put him right in our platoon, infantry platoon. And then they're like, okay, you're doing what they're doing now. And, you know, I had a lot of respect for him after that because he had no training whatsoever, and then just got stuck right in the middle of it. And big city of Baghdad, and, you know, the worst time you could possibly be there, 2007, during the surge. So, and he did it. It was easy for him to adapt, but he did it. And it's a very hard job.
Now you went to Afghanistan after that, right?
Yes, I did. 2013 for most of the year.
Yeah, and then you had a tour in Iraq.
Yep, that was in Iraq was 2006 and 2007 for 15 months, and then Afghanistan was 2013 for 10 months. So,
do you ever have? I shouldn't say this, but do you ever have nightmares of any of that stuff? Like my cousin came home from Vietnam, and he would have nightmares, and I mean, he had to go see a doctor because it was so bad.
Yep. I don't think of them as nightmares. I don't wake up, you know, with like my heart pacing and I can't go back to sleep because of it. But like there might be the occasional dream where I'm being surrounded by whether it be Taliban or some sort of Arab militant, you know, because that's what I experienced.
Yeah.
And then, or even I've had other ones, you know, dreams of like just criminals surrounding me and, you know, me having to use whatever necessary means I could to, you know, get myself out of that position. But that sort of dream I've had, but I don't consider them nightmares. I don't lose sleep over it, or I don't really think too much into it.
So you're not part of a group that when, say, someone passes away in the local area here, you're not part of a group that would act as a color guard or a burial team or something?
So I have done color guards before with the Army.
Yeah.
It's usually units assigned.
Yeah.
Like the last time I talked to a unit assigned would be the Marines over at Londonderry, New Hampshire. And, you know, they'll just say, okay, from this time to this time, you guys, if there's any local former military that have recently passed, then you're going to be their color guard team. So I did it out in Oklahoma where there's an active duty station, Fort Sill, so it's constantly, you know, you have to constantly go out and sometimes more than once a week, and, you know, you still prepare, you do the flag folding and playing of taps, which isn't actually playing on a bugle. It's just a little speaker box put in the end.
I know, isn't it?
So, the very first time I ever did it, actually, I didn't know you were supposed to turn the thing off. So as I was walking away back to start folding the flag, it started to replay taps all over again.
Oh dear.
So yeah, it was a little embarrassing. But as far as, you know, any other groups of it, it's just whatever team has been, or unit has been actually said, you guys are going to be doing this from this date to this date. So, and then they just go off and do them.
So you never goofed up then doing something?
That was the only one I ever goofed up on. Besides that, I've had friends, you know, show up to them missing their actual dress shoes.
Oh,
and, you know, you try to do the best you can. Sometimes some people have little hiccups that you try to, you know, maybe push them off into a corner so people can't see them, and then deal with it. So it's hard, definitely, folding a flag with two men or women, you know, soldiers just sitting there doing it together, because it's a lot easier with the third soldier walking by and doing it all.
Yeah, when I watch them on TV, when they're doing the presidential burials and stuff, boy, they're right, just snapping right through there, and I mean they must rehearse that many times.
Yep. So I don't think I've ever seen, you know, the individual is usually the non-commissioned officer in charge, depending on the rank of the person who died. If a full bird colonel dies, a full bird colonel is supposed to be there to salute, you know, honor that. But usually it's a sergeant first class or staff sergeant. But every single time I've ever seen them hand the flag over to the next of kin, never seen one individual not crying or have, you know, watery eyes during it. So it's very sure. Emotional.
I'm sure it is.
So.
Yeah, because when my step-grandfather died, he had remarried after my grandmother passed, and so his second wife there asked me what to do about his flag, and I said, well, what about it? Well, he already has one from I guess when his father died, I don't know. And he said, should we use that, or should we, you know, let them use a new one? And I said, well, I guess I would use the new one and then, you know, keep the other one for yourself, or if you want, have them use that older one and give the newer one to his sister, you know, and then you keep his other one. I mean, I would rather keep his other one. I wouldn't feel right taking the new one because it wouldn't have no meaning to it. Yeah. But that's what they did. But
I've got my American flag that I carry around everywhere that I go out in the world. Not like for normal trips or anything, but if I'm deployed or living stationed overseas. When I was in Germany in 2005, my squad leader told all of us in his squad we should buy them just in case we ever get lost from the rest of our unit. So if we're walking up to, and keep them in our body armor, so if we're walking up to a base, we can just pull it out and walk up with the American flag folded out. So to kind of show, don't shoot me, I'm an American.
Well, you would hope not.
And then most of the way through my deployment, I completely forgot it was in there until one day I pulled it out, saw it was still in there, and then I just started hanging it up and taking it with me everywhere I'd go. I did the same thing in Afghanistan. So right now it's hanging up in my living room. You know, that's where I usually put it if I'm not somewhere else. But,
gee, you mean you wouldn't take your University of Michigan flag with you and hoist that up there?
So,
run into a Buckeye probably, but
maybe.
Well, it's just, you know, we had a teacher. I had a teacher in 5th grade, and of course her son got killed in World War II. I think it was World War II. I don't think it, because she was a Gold Star mother. And boy, she was very, very patriotic. And I'm telling you, brother, you didn't disrespect that flag or anything. You honored it, and you stood there with your hand over your heart and recited that Pledge of Allegiance, because and even at home, her home, she had a flag inside her window.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you feel patriotism is kind of like right now?
Depends on the individuals. So with the internet, it's so easy to see the mass population because everyone has a voice now. And with the mass numbers, there's a lot of smart people, but there's a lot of stupid people, and they all have a voice now. So the easier it is for information to be spread out across the world, and younger people seeing it, especially ones who aren't that learned, you know, they can go off on and form their own opinions without actually doing any research or anything like that.
Yeah.
I was probably not as patriotic when I was first joining the military, you know, because I was that adolescent, didn't want to do what my parents wanted to tell me, wanted to choose my own, you know, future and not care that much. Until I started getting involved with, you know, military and global affairs and doing more research on, you know, certain things, patriotism and whatnot.
Well, what made you go in if you didn't want?
My father was an infantryman all throughout the 80s and the 90s. I watched, you know, seeing him do it. It looked awesome. Arnold Schwarzenegger movies didn't help. So, you know, just watching all this 80s, 90s action and video games coming out, you kind of wanted to get into that lifestyle, which I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then getting into the real life of it and seeing how it really operates, it's a whole different thing than what people kind of have expectations for.
Well, I have a young man who's like he'll be a senior in high school this next year. And he wants to go in the Marines. And I told him, I said, you better make sure you know exactly what you're getting involved in. Because, you know, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And you better be ready because it's a real tough position to be in. And they're usually on the front lines, boy. You know, they're the first ones in there. And it's not a plaything. So I don't know what'll happen, but I mean, it's fine if he wants to go in, but I just don't picture him going in like that. But I think one of the reasons he wants to get out of the house.
Yeah.
You know, but
I think it's like one of the best things ever. I know some people just don't agree with the military or anything like that. They think it's just mindless drones going in and people getting, you know, their minds rechecked to be whatever it is they want them to be, just machines. When, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of stupid people, so sometimes you do get that, but most of the time you just have really smart, educated people who are now physically disciplined, you know, and mentally tough to do a lot more, a lot better things, and to include being that, I hate to say this because it's what veterans always say, like sheepdog people, you know, being that individual who can put down a criminal or, you know, any sort of individual that would be causing harm to an American citizen or someone, you know, that's an ally to America, and just taking that, you know, those steps, like those kids in France who stepped up on the train and stopped the terrorists from doing an attack.
Yes.
People having that intestinal fortitude to be the ones that say, I'm stopping this situation right now from going any further, and they have the training to do it. So they take those actions. As far as what you said for patriotism, with the Pledge of Allegiance, I have like a back and forth thing about it. I understand it's patriotic. You know, it's an awesome thing to do. I'm all about patriotism. I'm also all about freedom of speech. Yeah. So and keeping, you know, church and state separate. So having that, you know, for people to say or making it mandatory for people to say, is kind of like outrageous to me, because if you were really free, you wouldn't have to pledge allegiance to say so. So that, in my opinion, if you want to prove your patriotism, join the military. Yeah. Or attempt to. I know some people just physically can't or mentally can't, and there's other means out there besides just doing military service. There's civil work out there, you know, medical fields, police fields, other fields where people can definitely put their time and effort, or at least just giving back to help out. You know, I donate my time to try to help out. Sure. So any of those people who, you know, they want to make a difference, there's more things to do than just going on social media and saying something. Oh, I know it. Yeah, I know it. You're right. I mean, that's like with me. I mean, I just try to do what I can. Because, you know, I wasn't, but I still believe in it. And, you know, I just, it bothers me when I see some things going on that, when people are using the flag for something other than it should be used for, that bothers me. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's one thing to have a hat on or something, but then when you start seeing swim trunks or pants
pants or shirts or whatever, or other inner kind of garment, then hey, then, you know, I think that draws a line. I just think that's enough is enough. But what are you going to do? You know, and I just don't understand it sometimes. But I just feel like now we're in a period that it seems like, I mean, I can remember as a kid in school, we used to have to write an essay during Memorial Day about something patriotic. Usually it was about Abraham Lincoln or, you know, the Civil War or something like that. And now I don't think they do that.
Yeah.
That they used to. But I just know, and of course, the scouts, you very rarely will see many scouts in the Memorial Day parade anymore. You know, I don't know what happened. What's got them? Of course, it's a holiday weekend, so people are gone away. But I don't know, Ryan. How you doing on your project that you started when you were here last?
We're still doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We just tried. We had one the other day on Saturday in Portsmouth.
Did you?
We might be scheduling another one in Portsmouth coming up soon.
Yeah.
It was like the first nice day out of a long rainy season week, so not a whole lot of participation happened because everyone wanted to go out and enjoy the nice sunny Portsmouth, which I don't blame them. Yeah. But you know, we're still going to keep trucking along and trying to raise money for veterans martial arts training. So I'm happy to be part of it, you know. And yeah, it's
how long
busy.
of a course is that?
The you mean the actual push-up challenge itself?
Yeah.
It's technically 4 minutes altogether.
That's it?
Yeah. So people come up and it's $5 donation to, you know, just try to compete in doing it. It's a slow cadence of push-ups. We did have our first champion the other day. It was a female. She knocked out 48.
Wow.
So we did drop the number for the women just so we'd get more participation.
Yeah.
So it seems like with a less number, you get more female participation. So that's what we figured would be a better thing to do. And we definitely worked out well.
How many do the men have to do?
86.
86.
86 push-ups.
Yeah.
So
and women have to do how many? 40?
48.
48.
So both are extremely hard.
Yeah.
So.
And how long are you going to be doing that for?
Probably till November.
Yeah.
So it depends on how busy I get with my job, you know. So I'm always out and about and driving all over the place.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's good, though. Well, we're coming down to a close of Around Town, and once again, Ryan, it's been a real pleasure having you here. And I kind of wanted to have you come on because it is Memorial Day. We're still in that mood somewhat, and I call this the patriotic season because Flag Day's coming up, and then the 4th of July, and then kind of an off period till the next holiday season comes up with Thanksgiving, or I should say Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. But I don't know, it don't seem possible we're getting there, but no, I got things in mind for you for this fall, and I just have got so much respect because I told you, I think you're such a great guy, and we're very lucky to have you here. So
thank you.
With that in mind, thanks. We've been visiting with Staff Sergeant Ryan LePointe, and we hope that you have had a great Memorial Day, and I hope that you have taken time out to remember those who have sacrificed their lives, and your family members as well, so who didn't maybe go in the service. But with that, I'm your host, Dick Patten. A big thanks to Ian Marx, my director, and we will look forward to seeing you soon on the next edition of Around Town.